Hi, welcome to Case Briefs with Megan. Let's make this case brief. Given the way that the world is currently, and given that this is also my specialty, I've been working in the field for the past 3.5 years, let's talk business immigration with matter of Dhanasar. Now, within this particular case, we are talking about one specific type of visa called a national interest waiver. So typically when you come to the US, or you're already working here in the US and you want to apply for your immigrant visa, you need to go through a process which is called labor certification. However, the labor certification process is long, it's hard, it could take years because you need to go out and advertise the position and show that either nobody else is qualified or nobody else wants to do your job. You need to put out that this job is being paid the same kind of wages as being paid in the area that the job is being offered in. All of these different kind of requirements before you can actually apply for a green card. And that's one reason why it takes so many years for people to get through the legal process. National interest waiver basically waives that labor certification, saying this person doesn't need to go through this process because the work that they are doing is within the national interest. With this particular visa, you do need to have an advanced degree. However, you don't need a job offer. What you're doing is you're self-petitioning for your research or your work. And it's not like this visa is available to everybody. You truly need to prove that your research or your work is the cream of the crop, and it is bound to make changes if you're able to continue it within the United States. For a really long time though, before matter of Dhanasar, it was really unclear how to prove all of that. What is national importance? How do I show that what I'm doing is that important? The governing case for national interest waivers used to be this one case called the New York State Department of Transportation, but it was really well known for having sort of narrow and rigid values that people really didn't know what to make of. However, matter of Dhanasar gives us a clear picture about how to look at national interest waivers and what you need in order to get one. So what exactly are we looking at with matter of Dhanasar? So Dhanasar was looking to get his green card, and he was looking to get it under the national interest waiver due to his position as a professor of aerospace engineering. He taught at a university down south, and he was really specialized in these air and space propulsion systems. There's a reason I am studying to become a lawyer and that I don't know how numbers work. He's got a PhD in the subject, and he's got 2 master's of science degrees on top of that. So he's smarter than I will ever be. And also you hear that he's got an advanced degree, so he's already got one thing down. And to prove that he's such an expert in this field, he's been doing this kind of research for years now, he submits a couple of things with his entire case petition to prove about what an expert he is in the field and what his future work is going to look like. He submits articles that he's written, he submits these memberships and organizations that he's a part of, he submits records of his teaching and research activities for the future, and he submits a bunch of what are called expert opinion letters from all of his buddies who are also specialized in the field, and sign off and say, I know who this guy is, I know what his research is, and now I think that you should let him have a national interest waiver. So it sounds like he's really qualified to do his job, right? Wrong, according to the existing standards at the time. So Dhanasar appeals his case and he says, look, I think that my work is actually really important, and if I'm able to stay here, I can continue that. I think I'm more than qualified. I just need some direction, like what more do you need from me? And if I'm not reaching this, who else is going to be able to reach this standard? And within this case, the immigration courts lay out an entirely new system on how you review a national interest waiver case. And this is famously called the 3 prongs of the matter of Dhanasar. The first prong is that the proposed endeavor has to have substantial merit and national importance. This means it doesn't matter if you know if your research is going to work or not, nobody can know that for sure. But if you can prove that something that you are doing, such as working at a hospital and curing cancer, or you're working on a specific project that has substantial merit and national importance, the U.S. is interested in curing cancer. The second prong is that the foreign national, the person that's trying to become an immigrant here in the United States, is well positioned to advance the endeavor. So all those fancy-schmancy papers and memberships and all those other cool things that Dr. Dhanasar is doing show that, he's a top expert in the field, and he is more than well positioned to advance his proposed research. And besides all of his previous things, Dr. Dhanasar is also teaching and doing research actively in the field that he says he's an expert in. That probably means he's in a good position to continue advancing the field. The third prong in the matter of Dhanasar basically says if we put all of this person's qualifications and everything that they've shown us on a balancing scale, it needs to be beneficial for the United States that we waive this person's labor certification requirement. In other words, the court takes a look at Dr. Dhanasar and they say, is it better that we make him go through the labor certification process, or is it better to waive this whole process and let him continue doing this research for the benefit of the United States? And under these 3 new rules that we have, Dr. Dhanasar wins this case and he gets a national interest waiver. If you take away anything from this case, let it be that I still don't know how numbers work. Google, what's aerospace engineering?